Parents. Madam Young, can you all hear me?
Yes, Mr. Chen.
Okay, sure. Then I think we can begin. Yeah, thanks a lot, parents, for being with us today. We conducted our session for P1s as well as the P3 parents last week. So to my P2 as well as P4 to P6 parents, thank you for joining us today. Let me just begin to welcome everyone. I think we have had one whole month for the start of the term already. And then now we are already going into February. That's really very fast. So let me just project my slides first. I'm Mr. Chen. For those who are first time you are actually seeing me, because we also have a few cases of students who are transferred into our school. Big warm welcome back to a new year. Allow me to just share a few things with everyone. Holistically, what are we trying to achieve for the year? You will notice that the first segment from 3:05 now until 3:30, I will cover a little bit in the broader terms, what is it that we wish to achieve as an entire school, so that later on when you break off into the individual level sharings by the year heads, as well as the sharing by the form teachers, you will be able to hear at a level as well as in the class, what will be the focus of our different colleagues. All right, there are some questions that you all have also raised with us across the different sharings, either from myself, the year heads, or the form teachers. We will attempt to address your concerns. If there are certain concerns that have not yet been met, I hope that you all will also just seek our understanding that maybe these may be addressed to you personally from the teachers or from the year heads. We will get in touch with you personally as well, just to address, because your concern may be also unique to your child. So concerns that are unique to your own child or to certain situations, we will also address it separately, not in my slides today. Okay, so the three things that I'll focus on. The first one is about our ADPS focus for 2025. I think it's important for all of us that if we know what is our focus as a school, at home, I would like to encourage all parents to use it as a dinner table topic with our children, with our admirals. Some of the questions that we hope that you also pose to the admirals, so that our children are also well aware about what are certain things they must do, what are certain things that, as an admiral, what would I be proud of doing, and in terms of our values, in terms of some of the things that we focus on in school. Okay, secondly is about achieving alongside our admirals. How do we achieve this holistic education in Admiralty Primary School? When I use the word holistic, I really mean it. Parents, let's break out of the mold. The whole rat race that we have always been very, very worried about. The academics is naturally something that is important to us. Neither are we saying that academics is not important. I think it's important for us to say that we look at the holistic education of our children. I do not wish for any of my admirals to be just very inclined academically, but when it comes to the values, when it comes to other areas, they are not able to fulfill the potential as well as the talents to the best of their ability. So I think some of these things we really have to work together alongside, so that we can bring out holistic education our admirals. The third one is about homeschool partnership. I will just provide everyone with a very good read from Health Hub. I would like to encourage all parents to read this together with us, so that we know what are certain tips that you can use. I think very, very concrete tips that are being provided by Health Hub that you can use at home to build resilient children. And this last thing that I would mention about the power of a supportive community. Also, this is not new to everyone. I think the vision that we have for our students is to be inspiring and empathetic leaders with a strong global outlook. And hence, when we look at this vision that we have for all our students, we talk about wanting them to be inspiring. We talk about wanting them to be empathetic. It starts with all of us, parents, teachers, school leaders. I think we need to role model how do we be inspiring to our children. The way that we interact with others, the way that we are positive, and we are also always keeping up with the times, keeping up with what is happening in the rest of the world. Empathy is a very important skill that we need to build in our children, so that they will look beyond just themselves, right? And then the strong global outlook is really looking at the rest of the world, what is happening, so that we are very clear that in Singapore, while this is where we live in, but we will never know, one day some of our children will probably venture out to the rest of the world to work. Some of them may have business that is in China, for example, or business in India and in different parts of the world, in Indonesia? And do they have that rootedness back to Singapore? All right. So our mission is to nurture compassionate citizens and lifelong learners. So you can imagine, just now I touched on the topic of academics. The academics are important. Let's not get that wrong. But I can imagine that today, just getting the academics is honestly not the only thing that our children must excel in. If they are able to do all these things to become leaders in their own right, they are compassionate towards others, I feel that some of these values they can apply to their studies as well. So looking at our school team has not changed. In fact, I think when we are able to build on each year's the theme, we started off with growing together, gratitude, courage, excellence. I think I had shared this last year with all parents. I hope that you will bear with me because this bears reminding. I think it's important for all of us to really try and inculcate this in our students as well. An attitude of gratitude. We want our children to grow up in future. As a parent myself, I surely hope my children will have gratitude towards us as parents. And then do they know how to serve back? Do they know how to pay back that gratitude in kind? We want all of our children to know that we are all part of something bigger than ourselves, right? This world is not just about us. And gratitude as a foundation of building empathy and compassion. Courage. I think we all have our fears. Adults, we have our fears as well. And sometimes when we show children that we have our fears, but look at daddy, mommy, how is it that we are able to overcome our fears? I think we are role modeling for our children. So it's not about being fearless. So we are gung-ho about certain things that we come across that. I don't think that that is what we need our children to learn from us. It's not that. It's about the fact that I have certain fears. There are certain things that I'm worried about. But then how do I overcome it to do it better? Looking at all our emeralds as leaders, how do they serve with courage? Okay, so it's about service. It's not just about myself. I think we want all our children to serve others. And also having the courage to embark on a lifelong journey of learning. So now what they are learning is not so that they can ace the exams, and then later on when it comes to secondary school, it's a whole different set of textbooks. Beyond secondary school and tertiary education, do they still want to retain that desire to learn and learn new things? Excellence is a lifelong pursuit. So related to this idea about a lifelong learning attitude, excellence as a habit and journey, not a destination. Okay, we want them to build in them that it must be a habit. Day to day, are our children giving in their best? Are they cutting corners? Or are they really giving in their best? For our youngest ones, P1s, P2s, when they go back home, do they always take out the textbooks? Do they do some kind of revision? So there were quite a lot of questions from P2 parents. You did ask us, how do we prepare them for P3 and the fact that in P3 year end there are examinations? Actually, if you ask me, it is a habit that we need to get started now, right? When they are at home, do we always get them, make sure and just observe them, do they take out the Admiral's Companion to take a look, what is my homework for today? Have they developed the habit to say that, okay, even daddy, mommy are not with me, I know that I've got spelling, I've got dictation that I need to prepare for. And do they actually bring all these things out themselves and they start practicing? So it has to start now. You can imagine if they get these habits correct, I don't think they will be so worried when they go into P3 and the first time they have to take WAs and examinations. I think because we have already developed in them that kind of habit. The idea about thinking global, act local, right? We will touch on this again, I think in times to come. I think it's more to let our admirals know a little bit more about what are the challenges on a global level. How do we tackle some of these things? And then on the local side, what are some of the current issues? So we have also mentioned these things to all our admirals before, and I would like to highlight this and really get the attention of all parents to work with us on this. Our school core values, we have 5 of them in total. The first one is about graciousness, right? I think important that I share these things with my parents because we are our role models for our students. How do we be gracious? How do we be kind towards each other? When incidents happen, when we have altercations between students, right? Definitely, we will be heated in our arguments. Sometimes we will be upset with each other. And that's why when teachers actually step in, and we want all our children to understand that both perspective, what happened, but it's important that we teach our students to be gracious. How do we be gracious and how to be kind towards each other? How do we sometimes also learn to forgive and forget? I think that's important. Be responsible for their actions, that work, their belongings. This is their responsibility. If our children forget to bring their water bottles, I hope parents, let's not save them immediately by rushing to school, passing them the belongings, passing the homework. If they get scolded by the teachers, if they get told off by the teachers, I think that's how they also learn to be responsible, that next time I need to pack my bag. I need to be responsible for my homework and all. Thirdly, to have integrity, to be honest, share with us everything. I think that they may get scolded by daddy, mommy, they may get scolded by teachers. But at the end of the day, I know that if I've done something wrong, I own up to it, own my own mistakes. There's no point pointing out and pointing to the other students. Is what is it that I can do? So that's about integrity. And of course, be a good team player, right? How the whole idea ever since preschool, a lot of them will have already been taught teamwork makes the dream work. No one can survive on our own. I think we can survive and do well. It's also because of the people who are all around us. So this part also goes back to G, gracious, is that when our children are good team players, they should always learn how to give credit to the other people. And they should always learn the fact that I am doing well because of other people around me and we function as a team. Okay, and the idea of grit, we want all our children to have perseverance, to have resilience, and this is for excellence. Parents, you would probably be quite familiar with this by now. Maybe not the details and the content of it, but at least you may have seen this. I would like to encourage all parents to perhaps take a look at this framework. It is on MOE's website. Very easy to find. The moment you just need to Google 21st century competencies or MOE 21CC. This pops up. I would like to encourage everyone to read it and read the wordings that come with it. Sometimes we are all very caught up in wanting our students, especially the P6 students, to do well in the PSLE. But if we want to prepare them for life, I think these are the skills that we really need to inculcate in our children. Okay, so at the center of it is about core values. In the pink red circle, you will see these are what we call the social emotional competencies. So sometimes you may wonder, how come some of our children are not able to manage themselves? How come they do not know how to manage relationships between myself and other people? Well, all these are all the social emotional competencies that we are helping our admirals to grow along the way. So I can imagine my P6 admirals should have mastered some of these better than my P1 admirals. That is only because also a matter of time and maturity. So ultimately, we want every admiral to be confident, to be self-directed. So it must be coming from themselves, not because the teacher told them to do so, not because parents we are actually eyeballing them. We want them to be concerned about what is happening around us. So concerned citizens and active contributors. Okay, so if you look at the orange color circle, that is where the very critical, important skills that our children need to master. And I will say it's a need, it's not just a want. So if we can shift our thinking away from saying that they just ace their PSLE score and do well in their mathematics, but as compared to it to do well in their mathematics as an example, I do expect that admirals will have to be able to develop critical thinking. Right? So if you take a look at the orange color circle at the top there, critical, adaptive, and inventive thinking. We bring all these things out through our lessons, teaching and learning in the classroom. So in terms of homeschool partnership, just wanted to highlight a few things. Maybe if parents, you could take out your mobile phones now, if your mobile phones are available, could scan this, or if not, you could type this in go.gov.sg/resilience in your child. I came across this article, which I think is a crucial piece for all of us to do well. So I would say that this is a must do. It's not a good to do. right? It's not good to have. Actually, it's really, we must do it. Because what is our role as parents, as educators, I think is us trying to build a resilient child so that at the end of the day, even when we are not around, they know what to do, they know how to withstand the pressures in life, right? And I think my P2 parents, when you heard me talk about it when they were first in P1 also, is we cannot afford to bubble wrap our children. One day, we are not going to be there for our children, right? When that day comes, do our children know how to bounce back from failure? Do our children know how to bounce back when they have a hard knock in life, right? That they are resilient and they know that they can pick themselves up. So some things that I think I want to maybe get the support from all parents that let's work together. Teachers and parents working closely to understand the child's strengths, the areas for growth, so the weaknesses. Okay, and let's affirm each other. At the end of the day, I think the teachers are definitely appreciative of parents in the reinforcements and the things that you are doing at home. Likewise, I hope parents show affirmation to their teachers for the good work that they are also doing, because they are also looking after our admirals and what they are doing. Because with that, I think it allows for us to really work side by side, very closely together. Okay, any concerns that parents you also have, teachers may have them as well. We will contact each other. So like I mentioned, mutual reinforcement of certain habits and routines in school and home. If any of the teachers point out to parents about certain observations in school, please don't get us wrong. It's not about complaining about the child. We need to bring this across to parents. We need to inform parents because we want to find out, are there certain routines and all that we may need to help to build for the child? After all, we just want the best for the children. We want them to learn. Okay, starting every day, right? I'm very, very particular about this part, to be honest, about punctuality. So parents, let's do what we can. To be honest, with every day when I see children who are late for school, to me, is that actually this shouldn't happen. If it happens occasionally, rarely in the rare occasions, because we know that there are certain things at home, keep the teachers updated, I guess that's fine. But if it becomes a habit, you do realize that it becomes a habit that the children will keep bringing with them every day. We want the children to be on time in school. In fact, if they are early enough, they can sit with the rest of the class. They can read. And reading is extremely important for them to gain the knowledge. So Monday to Wednesdays are EL books. Thursdays to Fridays, they will read their MTL book. And again, going back to that, many questions about how do we help our children do well? It starts with reading. It starts with some of these things. Let's get it right. If we build in them the joy of reading, the joy of learning, I'm very, very sure that they will pick up a lot of things that are happening in the classroom. Okay, so cultivating the habit of reading at home, let's role model those reading behaviors as well. I think if we make sure that the home front, the school front, there are lots of books. If we have a library here, there's really no reason for the students not to be able to pick up a book. We have certain shelves in the school as well, whereby because the books are a little bit older already, we just place them there and the students are welcome to go there, pick it up and just do their own reading. Right, so like mentioned just now about our school values, reiterating and reinforcing some of our values. So my message in my letter to all parents, I mentioned about just one thing this time round. I think the key thing is about the power of a supportive community. Parents, be on board with us or be on board with me when I say this, that actually we are all here to do our best to bring up our children in the best way possible, to be respectful, to have all the different values, the great values, to be a contributive member of the society. We want them to do that. So we thrive on strong partnerships to grow this, what I call educational pie. With my own teachers alone, there is only just so much that we can do. But if I may also then extend that big thank you to my PSG, those who have been really active, PSG Exco as well as my PSG chairperson. Without my parents coming in to support a lot of the programs that we can do, without parents yourself at home reinforcing and also checking on the well-being of the children, I think there are lots of things that we cannot do. And in fact, last year, we can run a lot of different programs, be it math at lunch, play at lunch, and other different kinds of activities during our Racial Harmony Day as an example. We could do this because we had parents coming in to help us set up all these things. To be honest, if I didn't have parents coming in to lend your support and to volunteer your services, I may not have been able to do everything. I may have to cut down on certain things because it needs to be manageable for the workload of my teachers as well. Let's all then work together. I think the idea here is how do we build that supportive, caring, and enabling environment for our admirals. So if I may also say, what is a supportive community? Is one whereby we are like a tightly knit family, right? Teachers, parents, school leaders, even with the outside community as well. We ought to care for one another. So we need to place the emphasis on how do we help each other do well. So if you're struggling on the home front because of, let me give you an example, financial needs, or maybe your child has got a gaming addiction, or there's certain things which are making you really very stressed, feel free to share your issues with us. Share them with us, because then we may be able to see, okay, on the school front, when the child is in school, sometimes the children really do listen to the teachers very, very well because of the authoritative figure, and we can counsel them. Likewise, if let's say we do need help from parents at home front, I think we will also get in touch with parents to say that we are trying these things in school with the child. They don't seem to be very, very receptive. At home, could you help us to reiterate certain messages? You may have your way that we are not able to get it in school. It goes both ways. And I think at the heart of it all is so that we can grow our admirals into empathetic leaders who are not self-centered. All right. To me, I think it's very, very important that our children are not self-centered. It's not about just themselves. It's really about how do they do well for the others as well. And you can imagine if our children are starting to think beyond just themselves, I'm very sure they're going in the right direction. So working alongside parents, I think there are a few things I wanted to capture to allow parents to understand better. There are three big ideas that we always share with our admirals when they are growing up. They will struggle with a few things. So first thing is they will grapple with their own identity. To help them understand their identity is not us just telling them who they should be. I think it's about working it through with them. Who do they feel comfortable in their own skin, right? I think that is important for them. What is their own identity? Secondly, building strong relationships with their friends. But sometimes relationships with the friends, with the teachers can get tested. That is only part and parcel of life. We are working, for all those of us who are professionals working in a workplace, we know with our bosses, with our subordinates, with colleagues, we always have relationships which can get tested from time to time. How do we work out these relationships in a mature manner, in a proper manner? So when you hear about things in the media or you hear about things not in terms of, you hear from us also, altercations between students, right? Recently, there have been a few cases that have been mentioned out there in social media about, is there bullying that's happening? These are some of the questions that parents you have raised. I will just share them a little bit in terms of the school's take. Then we need to make sure that our children work out positive relationships with each other. And to be able to build a strong identity, to be able to grow positive relationships, I think they need to make the right choices. So every time they do something, they ask themselves, is this the right choice to make? If between this, for example, skipping lunch to go and play, or actually they should make sure they have lunch so that later on I have the energy to be able to carry out my lessons. These are choices that our children will need to be taught to make. And we always emphasize a few things. Kindness in actions, words, and deeds. So this juncture, I wanted to just mention some things about this question on bullying, as well as the ministry's stand that minister came out in parliament to address. Minister was very clear about the stand from the ministry when it comes to bullying, right? And it is exactly what the school has aligned with the ministry. We don't stand for bullying. I have a zero tolerance towards bullying. But can I be very clear to say, can bullying happen? It can. Can there be bullies in our midst? Let's put it this way, that sometimes what we dread is that are our own children possible to become bullies? And if they are bullies, there are a few things that we need to take note of. One, As parents, if our child has got a bullying behavior, how do we work with our child? How do we work with the school to make sure that the child corrects his or her actions? Because ultimately, we want the child to learn. On the part of the victim, children who have been on the receiving end of bullying actions, I think we also want to make sure that first and foremost is actually the well-being of the child in mind. Because the child cannot come to school feeling broken. That's the whole thing. You can imagine it is quite scary if the child is feeling very intimidated, very broken. How do we help the child to get out of that? So be it the bully as well as the ones that being bullied, in our school, we need to make sure that we address the situation for both. The bully needs to learn because it must never ever repeat. For the child who is the victim and being the bullied once, how do we actually help him or her to actually stand up again, to be able to get over the very negative experience so that he or she can actually feel more confident and not intimidated anymore because the well-being is at stake. Of course, the other thing that was mentioned by Minister, and he was very, very clear about it, I trust that the ministry also did a thorough investigation on the matters, is that very often bring the situation to the school so that parents, you work with the school. School will definitely work with you as well as the children to handle the matter, because it's not in our interest to sweep things under the carpet. That doesn't solve anything. But I think that it is in this particular case, like what Minister mentioned, it was very clear that it was an altercation between two children. Actually, it was a fight between two children, and it was not a bullying incident that had happened as portrayed in the social media. But sometimes in the social media, of course, certain things get taken out of context. We also don't know what happened there and then exactly in the school. But I think what is important is that any incidents that happen, approach the teachers, approach the school. If you feel that there's a need for the school leaders to know, right, not just the teachers, come to approach us, let us know. There are many ways, be it through the teachers, our Admiralty account, the email account, our school number is there. We have a receptionist who's always there to pick up the calls. We will get back to you. Right? But I think ultimately, beyond just that, how do we then work with our children on what I have mentioned here? How do we be kind in our actions, our words, our deeds? So again, I think let's work together on this. There will be consequences that are meted out to bullies. There will be consequences that are meted out to students who, even though it's not bullying, if we have investigated thoroughly, there is altercation between students because of actions or certain things they have done. Trust us that the school will always mete out consequences because we want the children to learn. So as a school, we mete out the consequence. The children learn from that, and we hope that they will never repeat themselves. Okay, so that's all from me that I have to mention for now. I think P6, P5 parents, you may have some questions pertaining to, say, the PSLE, preparation of PSLE, a bit more on DSA. Different levels, you will have your different concerns. I will leave it to the year heads to address some of them later during the sharing. But I would like to also then say that across the entire year, we will have different town halls that we will invite parents of different levels to listen into. We have town halls on DSA, town halls on secondary schools of choice selections, town halls on choice of CCA for P2 parents at the end of the year. So all these things will come. All right. So I seek your understanding and patience. It will come along the year. Okay. So with that, I'll pass the time over to my year heads. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chen. We will now begin the P5 and P6 year-head session. Parents of P4 admirals are kindly asked to leave this meeting room.
Sorry, Madam Yang.
Yeah.
Just sorry to interrupt, because I noticed that I think there are a couple of questions that came up inside our chat as well as the Q&A function. Rest assured, parents, we will take a look at these questions. We will actually share our responses with you. Also, we will get in touch. Maybe a very quick one, if I can just address right now, this question about bullying in the cyberspace. Asking about whether more guidance can be provided or how parents can work with the school to address or monitor such issues. Okay, so the thing is that there are guides for us that we can also share with all parents. cyber wellness. So cyber wellness guides, I think when we do have some of these that actually come not just from the school, actually from the ministry, from MOH also. They do have some of these things we can share with parents so that we can work together. My very quick response to this as well is if you do have any worries specific for your child, immediately get in touch with the year heads or if not with the form teachers so that we can look into the issue and we can help you to address that. Okay, don't some of these things when it happens, don't need to delay it. Right, don't feel that you need to tolerate it. You shouldn't. I think just get in touch with us, then we will work with you immediately from there. Okay, Ken, thank you. Sorry, Madam Yang, please continue.
All right, so P4 Admirals parents are kindly asked to leave this meeting room and proceed to P4 form teachers meeting rooms. And the parents of P2 Admirals may choose to leave this room and return at 4 p.m. for the P2 yearhead briefing. Okay, good afternoon to all parents and guardians of P5 and P6 Admirals. A video recording of this session will be uploaded to the school's YouTube channel, and we have also received your questions you submitted before this meeting and have incorporated the answers into our presentation. Feel free to submit any additional questions at any time using the Q&A tab on the screen, and we will address them at the end of the presentation. Thank you for joining us today for this session. My name is Madam Yang Zixing, and I'm the year head for Primary 5 and 6. Alongside my colleagues, Mr. Ling Yo Bing and Mr. Andrew Yo, who also serve as year heads for Primary 5 and 6, we are dedicated to supporting our admirals through these important upper primary years. This is an overview of what I'm sharing today. Now, the P5 and 6 years are critical in preparing our admirals for graduation and beyond. Our focus is on personal mastery, helping admirals deepen their skills and knowledge, building resilience and confidence to navigate challenges in their PSLE journey and beyond. Self-directed learners, encouraging admirals to take ownership of their education, equipping admirals with adaptive and critical thinking skills, time management strategies, and the ability to set and achieve learning goals independently. Empowered leaders, providing admirals a supportive environment where student voices are heard and also opportunities to take initiative, make decisions, and contribute meaningfully to the school and the community. Last but not least, lifelong friendships. Lifelong friendships of admirals are nurtured through collaborative learning and peer support initiatives that strengthen bonds among students. And we hope to encourage our admirals to build lifelong friendships that extend beyond the primary school year. At Admiral Primary, we provide student development experiences through school-based initiatives designed to meet the needs and interests of our students. These are some P5 and P6 key student development experiences. So at Primary 5, the Adventure and Character Camp, where students engage in outdoor challenges that promote teamwork, resilience, and leadership. Our P5 admirals had recently completed the camp at Dairy Farm. So these are some of the photos captured by our form teachers. The Annie Show, which aims to instill a deep appreciation of Singapore's history and values in our admirals, while also inviting them to celebrate the Singapore progress together as a nation during National Day Parade Preview. And this year, we are resuming the physical overseas learning journey for Primary 5 students. Both the Primary 5 and 6 students will attend the Executive Functioning Skill Workshop. And in Primary 5, the focus of the Executive Functioning Skills is on strengthening memory skills and building brain power to help students improve their ability to remember and organize information effectively. In Primary 6, the emphasis shifts to understanding personal strengths, enhancing memory skills, and learning self-care. Students are encouraged to recognize the strengths, which boost self-confidence, while also developing strategies for maintaining well-being and managing stress in preparation for PSLE. At Primary 6, some of the key development experiences include enhanced education career guidance and direct school admission program, which supports students in identifying their strengths, helping them to make informed decisions about their future secondary school, as well as to enable students to pursue their interests and talents beyond primary school pathway exploration. Now, the post-exam programs include transition to secondary school workshop, secondary school promotional talks, and secondary school visits, which aim to provide students with a well-rounded understanding of what to expect in the secondary school, helping them to ease the transition and reduce anxieties. We are excited to resume our international exchange program with the main objectives of broadening the Admiral's global perspective and fostering an appreciation for cultural diversity. This program also aims to enhance cross-cultural communication and collaboration skills, which are essentials in today's globalized world. This year, we have selected 3 countries for the exchange: China, Malaysia, and Indonesia. More details will be provided in due course. These key assessment dates are shared to help you plan ahead with your child and assist them in managing their time effectively. Please note that all primary 6 students will return to school for 2 days during the June and September holidays for supplementary lessons. There is a study break for P6 Admirals before the PSLE exams, during which they will study at home. The details on online consultations during the study break will be provided by the subject teachers. This is the assessment weighting plan for Primary 5. The assessments for Term 1 to 3 each have a weighting of 15%. These bite-sized assessments provide timely feedback to help students improve their learning, while allowing teachers to adjust their teaching practices to better support their learning. The end-of-year examination in Term 4 has a weighting of 55%, and students will sit for a full paper that follows the PSLE format. This is the assessment weighting plan for Primary 6. The assessment for Term 1 and 2 each have 15%. The prelim exam in Term 3 has a weighting of 70%, and students will sit for a full paper under the same examination conditions as PSLE. The Term 1 examination scope and key assessment information have been uploaded on our school website. Please visit the provided link for more information. To better support all Admirals academically, subject teachers have arranged additional remedial lessons after school for selected P6 Admirals. P5 and P6 Admirals with no other commitments after school can choose to stay in the library from Monday to Thursday until 5 p.m. for homework support, where our teacher, Mr. Ho, will be available to supervise and assist them with their homework. The school has coordinated with the bookshop to offer the 2022 to 2024 PSLE past year papers at a discounted price of $1.30 per book. Subject teachers will be using this as part of their PSLE revision lessons. Further details on the availability of these books for purchase will be shared soon. In addition to the 2022 to 2024 PSLE past year papers, the school will also provide additional past year papers for practice. The lesson focus for Primary 5 and 6 levels have been uploaded on our school website. Additionally, in our Term 1 letter to parents, we have included recommended websites to supplement our Admirals learning. We hope these resources will serve as a guide and assist you in supporting your child at home. Next, I will briefly share on PSLE scoring and DSA. More details will be shared during our town hall sessions at a later date. The PSLE achievement level scoring system aims to reduce excessive focus on academic results. Students with similar scores in each subject are grouped into scoring bands measured in 8 ALs, as you can see in this table. Under the AL system, foundation subjects are graded from AL-A to AL-C with a corresponding raw mark range as shown. For the purpose of S1 posting, AL-A to AL-C for foundation level subjects are mapped to AL-6 to AL-8 of standard level subjects respectively to derive a student overall PSLE score. PSLE Higher Mother Tongue paper is a separate paper from PSLE Mother Tongue paper. PSLE Higher Mother Tongue results are denoted as distinction, merit, or pass. Taking higher Chinese language will be considered when students are applying for a special assistant plan secondary school with PSLE score of 14 or better. You may visit the provided link for more information on PSLE and full subject-based banding in secondary school. DSA Secondary allows P6 students to apply to all secondary school before taking the PSLE. Do note that the following secondary school only accepts students via DSA, and they are NUS High School, School of Science and Technology, and School of the Arts. You will also need to send applications for your child via the DSA portal for these schools. Do also note that the Singapore Sports School conducts its own school-based admission. This is the timeline for DSA application. You may visit the provided link for more information about DSA. The final part of my sharing focuses on homeschool partnership. A strong homeschool partnership is crucial in shaping a positive learning environment, and we seek your support in monitoring screen time. Beyond school, the management of devices can be challenging. A poll conducted by Touch Community Service and Media Literacy Council indicated that 4 in 10 parents had faced difficulties getting their children to share their online activities. If we fear our child meeting strangers in playgrounds, we should be even more concerned about allowing them to wander through the jungles of the internet. So parents and teachers, we need to work together to harness the potential in digital learning with strong self-regulation. So this is a new MOH guidelines on screen use for children under 12. You would have received via PG. Parents and caregivers are strongly encouraged to follow these steps to reduce the potential harm of screen use to children. Now, overuse of digital devices can impact sleep, behavior, and learning. And these are some common signs of difficulty in regulating screen use. Here are some tips to regulate screen use for your child. So discuss on their screen use habits. Develop a realistic screen use timetable to balance their device use with other activities that the child agrees to adhere to. Review the plan regularly. You may use this template provided by MOH. If there's no improvement in the screen use and their behavior continues to cause impairment in your child's life, you may want to seek help from the school or other community partners. Do reach out to us, as severe cases may require professional intervention and counseling. PSLE tips for parents. It is important to have regular and genuine conversation with your child to understand their strengths, interests, abilities, talents, and their education and career aspirations. Your child's interests and strengths may still change as they mature. Through conversations with your child or inviting your child's friends over for a meal, you can get to know what your child's interests are and what keeps them motivated and engaged. Be open to the possible education and career pathways and be flexible in discussing these options without being judgmental. Make yourself available and be present as your child explores and shares their stand and views. Be mindful that we might need to manage our own expectations and not to project our own expectations on them. Affirm your child. When your child shares their plans with you, let them know that you are glad that they did that and offer support so that they know you are there for them. In Admiralty Primary School, we strive to nurture every student's potential. Our aim is to ensure that every Admiral not only exceeds academically, but also develops into a well-rounded individual, inspiring and empathetic leaders with a strong global outlook. Thus, do share important information about your child with us. You may contact us during working hours, weekdays before 6 p.m. I've come to the end of my sharing, and we welcome your questions and suggestions on how we can best support our admirals together. Our school leaders and key personnel will do our best to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, you may just pop your questions in the Q&A tab. Okay. I think we have already answered all your questions in the tab, and there's no other questions in the chat too. So thank you for your participation. You may now leave the meeting room and join the P5 and P6 form teachers meeting rooms. I shall hand over the time to the P2 year head, Madam Yanni.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I think we will give some time for the P5 and P6 parents to join their form teacher meeting, and also if there's any other P2 parents who are joining in. All right, we'll give them a few minutes, about 2 minutes perhaps. Okay, good afternoon, parents. Once again, I think we will start our session. We are slightly early, but I think all the slides, form teacher slides, will be sent via the form teacher platform. The yearhead slides as well as the principal slides and the recording will actually be sent to the respective level through Parent Gateway. All right, so it should be sent out to all parents by the end of next Friday, once we have uploaded them into our YouTube. Okay, yeah. So for the parents who are here, I hope you're all the P2 parents. Welcome to today's session. If you had stayed on for Madam Young's session just now, you would also hear a little bit of a repeat, because there are certain things that the year head team, the P1 to P6 year heads, we are actually working together on some of the things. Yeah. Mm. I would just like to start my session with this phrase: it takes a village to raise a child. I think I've always been using this phrase, and I really find it very important, because it is really the collective effort and the collective work that the school, as well as parents and the teachers, the student themselves, that needs to be together, that collective involvement, so that we can actually be that supportive network for our child's well-being. And I really like that little picture where the child is being held, the hands are being held by, one side is the home and the other side is the school. So if we are balanced and we are really working together, I think the child who is at the middle of all this, of whatever that we are doing, will be happier, will be balanced. However, if one side is to be pulled tighter than the other side, then perhaps the child may be a little bit confused, or maybe a little bit unbalanced in a way, and might not know what are some of the things that they need to follow. Okay, so I would really like to emphasize the importance of this supportive network, so that the children the communication between the teachers and the parents is really very crucial to actually address the academic concerns, the behavioral issues, as well as the holistic understanding of the child's development. So especially at the lower primary level, this is really very essential. And my team and I would really like to work with the parents with regards to the overall well-being. My apologies. I think I did not turn on my camera just now. Um, to top up with that, the support network that our school have, just like what the P5 and 6 have, the main people who will always be with the children are actually the form teachers as well as the subjects teachers. Okay, and the next layer would be the year head team, which is Madam Faiza, myself, Madam Yang, Mr. Lim, as well as Mr. Yeo. Okay, so we also do have our support teachers who actually looks into special education need and also our school counselors. And of course, we also have our school leaders who actually support us in this effort. All right. So if let's say we are not able to help you at whichever level, there is actually the next level which we could request for support or request for information on how to actually help the child. All right. So like what we are saying just now, the communication is really important. If you do need some support, some help with certain aspects of the child, do let us know, and we would really appreciate that so that we know how to work with the child in the classroom. I know this is quite an old article, but I thought it is really relevant. Um, he said about the partnership between parents and teachers is really very important, because whatever that we do in school, if there is no cooperation between the two, it will actually be undone by the time they actually leave school. Right? So it can be done in school, but then when it's outside school, it is not followed through or followed up with, then it will actually be very confusing for the child. So through this shared partnership and shared responsibility, I think the teachers will also like to have this common understanding in developing the child, not only in academic areas, but also in areas such as their behavior, such as their um, mental well-being. Yeah, so it is actually to increase the achievement and also the success of everyone in the class and also in the school. So there are actually some questions um, during when you actually sign up for this session. What can you do to actually encourage your child, or what are some of the things that you can do to ensure that the children from P2 they are ready for P3? So these are some of the things that we can do. I think the most important is being there for the child, and also not being too overly um, ambitious. We have to actually listen to the children to ask what are some of the things that they want to do, or they need help in. Some of the issues that some parents have asked is every time I ask my child, how's your school? What is it that you do in school? A lot of times they will just say, okay, it's okay, nothing, it's as usual. So some of the things, it depends on the questions that we ask. So if we ask such questions like that, the children's answer might be very close, and it is quite difficult for them to actually answer what is it that we want to hear. So there are some resources that I will share with you later on. There are some places where we can actually get some tips on how to actually ask questions and how to actually have some kind of a discussion with the children, perhaps after school or maybe during dinner, that you can ask so that we know where our children maybe which areas are, or which subjects they are very good at, and what are some of the things that they have done in school that is really very enjoyable for them. So this is something that you may have seen if you were with Madam Yang just now. Uh, this is the guideline for our primary school children. And it is really very important to note that the limit time is actually for gaming, for watching YouTube, and for watching videos. So we really need to ensure that the amount of time that we actually give to the children is really less than 2 hours. Because sometimes when we have conversations with the children, we realize that many of the children um, spend way too much time on their handphones watching videos. The reason they could give is, oh, I'm doing my work, but actually they are doing something else. And I think some of these things we really need to tighten our monitoring to ensure that they are really utilizing the time given to them for screen time meaningfully and not doing things which they are not supposed to do. So some of the things that we can do to regulate screen time is really to discuss their screen habits. I think I have heard of some parents who have actually had um, a timetable or a pre discussed time that they will let the children use the handphones or the devices. I think that's very good habits and also those conversations that we have, because eventually in P3 and P4 they will if they don't have such a habit, it might not be very good for them. The realistic screen time table can also balance with the other activities that you might want to agree with the children, because they also need to have time reading their book. They also need their time to be outdoors and to have play at the playground and so on and so forth. So these are some of the things that you as parents we can actually have this discussion and this agreement with the children. One of the questions as well, one of the questions that I have gotten is actually how do I support my child since there's no exams, and in P2 to P3 there is going to be a very big gap. In P3, I do have the children will sit for exams. The children will go through weighted assessments, but in P1 and 2, we don't have such things. Rest assured, as with P1, we have our assessments at regular checkpoints. They do have opportunities to show the teachers what is it that they have learned, and the teachers also be able to have opportunities to consolidate their learning as they move from one topic to another. Okay, like I said, the one that below here, talking to the children about their learning experience is actually very important. And if we could reflect on their learning, and it will actually make them remember the lesson that they had with the teachers better. Also, it will be very helpful if the child can be given a timetable to study as well, because this habit will really be very helpful as the children go up to P3, P4, P5, and when it comes to P6, they are already very habitual in their daily revision and in the times where they have to do their homework. And homework is just not completing what is required by the teacher, but it's also revising what they have learned. It will then ensure that they will not have to really study a lot of things at one shot when they have to sit for their WA when they go up to P3 onwards. One of the things that they can also do is to make sure that they have a proper place to study and not be studying on their bed or be studying on different places. So if it is time for the child to actually do their homework, or if it's time for them to really study, then there must be some kind of a agreement that all devices have to be put away unless you are doing work which requires the device. For example, if they need to do SLS work. And I think if we want to also talk about device use, there might be some parents who actually say, okay, you cannot use your device in the room. If you are using your device, ensure that you use it in the living room, for example. Then we can also be there around to ensure that they are not they will not go to different websites, because the tendency and that that need to go to different videos to go click on certain things is there, right? So these are some of the things that we can actually ensure that the children can follow the same kind of things. Although we don't have any exams in P2, then they will still be able to move up to P3 having that kind of routine. And even in the classroom, I think the form teachers will actually share with everybody that in P2, when we do maybe our class assessment or class exercises, the children might be told to actually be seated in an exam setting and to put away their books, because we just want to give them the opportunity, that experience, to ensure that this is how it will be when you are going to have your formal assessment next time when you go up to P3. Think that this encouraging that joy of learning, I actually took it from our the MOE website, the Parents Kit. So these 5 things are actually there. The most important I find is actually having that regular conversation, and also to guide your child to relate well with others as well. It's not only about them, because right now at this moment, being in a lower primary, it's usually about themselves. But as we move up, as the children grow older, they will have to actually relate to others, and also to be able to work well with others. One of our value, teamwork, I think that is something that we are also trying to remind the children how to work well with other people. Okay, so class allocation, I think some parents are actually having this question. Will the children actually be separated when they're in P2? Because in P1 to P2, it is an en bloc. And in P2, most of the classes have the same subject teachers and the same form teachers. So for P2 to P3, there will be class placement, class allocation, and this will largely be from the students' learning disposition. Okay, so that we will not actually use any of the um, um, assessments or any of the FAs that we use in the classrooms. Most of them, most of all, by right, all of the assessments that we do in the classroom are actually more to let the teachers know how much the children have learned and how they can actually close the gap in their different lessons after that. So for the class allocation, it is more teachers' feedback on how the children are learning and how the children's learning disposition are. So factors like gender, factors like ethnic mix, and also the different combination of children in the class are actually taken very in careful consideration. So in P3, it will be largely still going to be a mixed ability classes. And also to monitor and support student well-being, because there were some questions about how can I ensure that the children's well-being are met. So we do have our MOE check-in lesson activities. So at every term, we have this lesson activity as well as a lesson check-in survey, MOE check-in survey, where the children will actually share their experience and their emotions with the form teachers. These check-in surveys will be done online, and we do seek parents' understanding, because sometimes the teachers may have to send this survey online back home, and the children do need to complete this at home on their own, because we really do want to have the children to share with the teachers and with us their true emotions and their true experiences. So that means whatever login passwords that they need to have for this MOE check-in should have been written in their Pupils Companion book. And I really do seek everyone's attention to ensure that that page will stay with them. And if there's any changes in the password, it could be written. Because a lot of times, the teachers will actually, if we change the password in class, there will be, the teachers will actually write it down in that page. However, sometimes there are times where some parents actually change it on their own at home. And when they come back to class, it gets quite difficult for the teachers to help the child to log into these websites and these surveys. Another way where we actually check on the students' well-being is our one-to-one chats with our form teachers. So the children will be able to speak to the form teachers, both form teachers, at least twice a year. So this is where they can actually share some of the things, anything actually, whatever that they feel like sharing, they will be able to share with their form teachers. And we find this very useful because certain children can be very quiet in a big class setting, but when they do one-to-one chats with their form teachers, there's a lot of interesting things that actually come out from their conversations. Okay, so just now I mentioned that I will share with you some of the parenting resources that MOE has. So the first two actually is something that I might have shared with everybody last year. And the third one is something quite interesting because it is something that we already have and is already using. It is actually on our Parents Gateway. So if we have our Parents Gateway app in our handphone, at the bottom of the tab, you actually have this parenting tab. And here, they will show you by levels. So if you have children from secondary school or from any other levels, there are actually a lot of resources which we can use to help us, how we can actually ask the questions, how we can actually help the children have proper habits, ensure that they have a proper timetable, and so on. So it is actually, to me, I find it very useful because sometimes when some parents ask certain questions, I will usually direct them to some of these websites or some of these resources. It's really very rich. It is provided by MOE, and it is actually provided for all of us. Yep. I think I have come to the end of my sharing. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can always key into the Q&A, or you can also bring it back to the form teachers if you need to. Like I said, all the slides, this session slides will actually be sent to you via Parent Gateway, but the form teacher slide will actually be sent to you by your different class communication platform. Once again, thank you very much, everyone. I will stop sharing. All right, I hope that all the parents here would already have received the links for the form teachers session. We actually supposed to start at 4:30, but if you are ready, I think we can move to our form teacher session. Okay, I think there is no question. If there's any questions that you suddenly thought of, or there's something that you might want to clarify, do feel free to contact the form teachers. Feel free to contact me or any of my year heads. I think we would be very glad to answer the different questions. So thank you very much, parents. You'll be able to move on to our next segment, which is the the P2 form teacher section. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, good afternoon, parents. We are ahead of time. Let's us give some more time for parents who are still who have yet to join us. Yeah, probably I will start about 4:20. Thank you, parents. Yeah. Hi parents, it's 4:21 now. Maybe I shall start the session. Since this session will be recorded, the form teachers will be sending the recording and also the slides that I'm going to share today. Right. Good afternoon, parents. Welcome to my Year 8 sessions. For parents who are new to our school, I'm Madam Faiza, the Year 8 covering for P3 and P4. I hope you had a fruitful time with our P4 form teachers. I'm sure there are some concerns, questions that you have reposed in Parents Gateway. The form teachers have managed to answer. I also be sharing. I also address some concerns and questions that you have posted in PG along as I go along during the session. If you do have any questions, you can type in your questions in the Q&A tab. At the end of it, I will try to answer your questions. But along the way, I think I have a team of year heads here and also my school leaders who may also answer the question as I go along. Yeah. Oh, sorry. So parents, this is my contact. If you have any concerns regarding your child or anything, okay, this is the phone number that you can go to, the general office, and also my email address. So this is my presentation outlined. Parents, so I'm going to talk about the support network, a support network or the group of people that our admirals can turn to for encouragement, support, and advice. Parents, you are our key partners in delivering a holistic education, like mentioned by Mr. Chen. So your involvement in our child is very important, and working together, is very important for us to ensure the holistic development of our children. All right. Next, I'll be talking about the key information pertaining to the levels. I'm sure you are excited to know what's on for your child this year. With regards to assessments, definitely, I will be sharing with you what kind of assessment that your child will sit for this year. And last, I will also share about the level programs and activities that we have planned for your child for 2025. Let me go on to the first part, which is about the support network. Having a support network is very important because our admirals rely on the people, that they need to when they need help. It means that, in whatever situation that they are having, any tough situation, they know that these are the people around them that they can go to and seek advice. All right. We do have terminally training for admirals to share their experiences and feelings. So through all that, is also an avenue for us me, year head, the form teachers, to check on our admirals' well-being. Every child also will go through one-to-one check with our teachers to know the experiences, their emotions, as they go on throughout the years. So this is just to share with you, this is the year head team. P1, P2, Madam Yani. I'll be looking into the P4 and P3 and P4 student well-being. And for P5 and P6, we have Mr. Yo, Mr. Lim, and Madam Yang. Other than the head team, we also have our school counselor who provides counseling, emotional and social support to students who are facing challenges in their developments. We do have our SEN officer, Ms. Nazima and Ms. Ang Chaiwan, who support students in terms of their learning needs. Also, they will be sharing strategies with their children, how to manage and cope with their emotions, and also, help them in their learning. Just want to talk about the support network. So you can see here, the support network can consist of a variety of interactions with a range of different people, that our admirals, interact with. So these are people that our children interact and also can go to when they need help. Showing support for admirals is very important because I think it's a vital tool in maintaining our admirals' mental health and well-being. Studies have shown that when students feel supported by their teachers, their peers, and the people around them, they feel more confident in their abilities and also they are very motivated to succeed. I would like to share with you what I actually share with my P3 and P4 admirals. When Mr. Chen shared about the vision about inspiring and empathetic leaders with a strong global outlook, I also want our admirals to understand that with all this, you also need to have a culture of care, not just within their class, but also school. So when I have a session with them, the MROs can actually tell me who are the people in the school other than their teachers. They can even name the non-teaching staff that they can go to, or they can even show respect, compassion, and appreciate. So it's very heartening to be able to hear all these responses from our children. Every Emerald has a part to play, a part to play. They know that every child in our Emeralds in our school are given an opportunity to become leaders, other than just student leaders, but in class. They're also class monitors, they're also subject leaders. So being able to have this culture of care is very important. So they are supposed to care, support their peers and also the people around them. Next, about partnership with parents. Parents, you are very important for us to work together. We have the same goal, which is to bring out the best in our admirals. I think just now, if you are in many sharing, you have seen this article. I think I've already shared this article with parents also. Like Mr. Chen mentioned earlier on, mutual and reinforcement of right habits and routines at home and school is very important. We do not want our emeralds to be confused. So the partnership between parents and teachers is important. Why? Because we do want, what is the message that we share with our emeralds, and at time when they go home, it will be undone. I mean, it will be contradicting. So sometimes our emeralds will tend to be very confused. So we do not want that. So we want parents to support us in our journey together with our emeralds. Because we believe that every parent is a supportive partner. Okay. To this, we encourage parents and community to work together to create a very conducive learning environment. We can bring a different kind of encouragement, inspiration, and wisdom to our children's journey. From point of teachers, we have a way, how we encourage and motivate. At home, it'll be a different kind of set of motivation and encouragement. So let us complement each other good work in terms of our children, in supporting our children needs and also journey in their learning. I also am very happy to see very supportive parents who actually participate in our school programs. Just now Mr. Chen mentioned about our PSG, who are always there. Sometimes we do require their support. They also actually involved in our school activities, school programs. I think the last one was the Chinese New Year. Yeah, you can see our parents, actually PSG actually created some handcraft activities for our admirals, and they enjoyed very much. I'm sure our form teachers may have also shared with parents the activities that is done. Not all form teachers may have shared, but I think most of form teachers will have shared what are the activities that the admirals have done in class. So partnership with parents, every admiral, know that they can bring something to the table. We want to work with parents in terms of our children, strengths, and also weaknesses. We know that every child is very unique. So for parents, have conversation with your children. Sometimes some children may not tend to share in school when things happen. They may want to share with you at home. We do receive, sometimes feedback from parents, and I'm very, very happy, because parents do share with form teachers the challenges, the concerns that they may have. It is good to also seek to clarify with our teachers when certain maybe our children go home and went home and share things with you. We also we are very receptive to feedback, parents. Whatever feedback you give, we will spend time to actually look at it and also get back to you. If it's very important, for us to get back to you, because you understand that parents, when you give feedback, sometimes we also do not want it to be like leave it hanging. Yeah, so give us an opportunity to listen, understand, and explore the possibilities with us. For example, if you think that there's safety issues, I think in the PG questions, there's this about safety issue that parents share, that they see students crossing the roads randomly and all that. Do share, for example, like pictures, because we do receive videos or pictures showing our students not using the bridge, the traffic light, and we do actually, get back to the child and also share the parent that about these safety issues. So parents, we welcome your feedback. Yeah, we welcome your feedback so that we can work things together. if you find that at the form teachers level, the form teachers are not able to help you, do come to me. And if at my level I'm not able to support you, we always have the school leaders coming in, to support everybody. Yeah. So like I mentioned just now, let's give us the opportunity to listen and understand your concern, your challenges. If you have any proposal, we are glad to hear from you. So parents, another thing that I wish at P4 level, I just hope that parents, let's give some um, decision making to our children. For example, they are being accountable and take charge of their own learning. I think at P3 we talk about responsibility. At P1, P2 we talk about what is responsibility. So at P4 level, we hope that the responsibility part values the children should be able, to grasp that and also to show how responsible they are. Just now I mentioned about collaboration, communication. So I think this has been emphasized by the form teachers, I think, and also in the letter to parents about, communication timing about 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. I seek understanding parents because we do receive, form teachers do feedback to me that they do receive messages from parents at night. Do give them time to get back to you the next day. If we take care of our teachers, okay, the teachers be able to take care of your children, and then in a way, it's a win situation. We are able to help your child. So any urgent message you have to get through to, you can always contact the school directly. Uh, because unless it's emergency, we will try our best, to respond to you if it's really emergency. Yeah. So let me share with you the key information to about our P4 level. One of it is the P4 subject-based banding. There are some questions regards to reassignment of class at the end of P4. This P4 subject-based banding, we will have a town hall session in term 3, which will go in depth into what is P4 subject-based banding and how it looked like and what are the processes that we put in place for P4 subject-based banding, because it is a bit different from other schools. Yeah, so I will share this in detail during our town hall session in term 3. Do look out for the information on the town hall session in term 3. Yeah, I will share the details nearer to the date. Okay, just one more question, one more query about, I think, about this P4 subject-based banding. I understand that parents ask about high mother tongue, because I know at P3, P4, we do have high mother tongue program, but not all students are taking it. So is it there's a question whether if they're taking high mother tongue at P3 and P4, it will be automatically, the child will be invited to take high mother tongue. The question is no. We do recommend students who have done well enough at P4 mother tongue. So if at P3, P4 they didn't, the child is not taking high mother tongue, they will also be offered if they have done well for their P4 mother tongue. Yeah, to take high mother tongue. P5 and P6 high mother tongue rigor a bit different. So it's for students who demonstrate interest in the learning of the subject and have the capability to manage mother tongue language at high level. Because at P5 we are taking high mother tongue, the students will be taking 5 subjects in PSLE. So like I mentioned just now, parents do join us for town hall session in term 3 for P4 subject-based banding. Let me go into assessment. Okay. Like I shared in P3, there are 3 parts of assessment. One is the non-weighted assessment, one is the weighted assessment, and we also have the end of year assessment. Okay. Along the way, we also have formative assessments that is ongoing to help teachers understand student learning while they teach, and also provide information to the students, also to gauge the student learning ability. And also teacher will use the formative assessments to, adjust their teaching strategies accordingly. In our termly calendar, we'll indicate the dates for the weighted assessment and of the year assessment. I'm sure parents will be asking, what about the non-weighted assessment? For non-weighted assessment, your children will be, Admirals will be given the information when there's non-weighted assessment for that term. So for assessment, we have pen and paper. At P4 level, assessment can be in the form of pen and paper, performance task, performance assessment, and also integrated tasks. if you can see here, there are 3 different modes of assessment. For integrated task, you see a combination of assessment modes. This is more for the language, like reading and conversation is more for the oral exam. For performance task and performance assessment is more to test them on and in applying what they have learned in real situation. So let me share with you our P4 assessment plan. It's a bit small, but this information is all in our school website. So if you can see here in term 1, for all the subjects, okay, we have weighted assessment. For English, for example, we have a continuous writing. For math, we have performance assessment. For science, we have science journaling. And for mother tongue, we have listening comprehension. And you can see the spread there for term 1, term 2, term 3. Okay, the percentage is about 15%. At the end of the year, it's 55%. So if you can see here, okay, the spread of the weighting assessment. Yeah. What's the difference between performance assessment and performance task? Parents may be wondering, what is the difference? Performance assessment is more about journaling and it's more pen and paper. However, for performance task, it's more of a hands-on practical. Yeah, so all this information will be given to you by the subject teachers if you have, if their child is sitting for this assessment. So let me share with you the website, for the assessment methods. You can see here, you can take a look and then you can download the information that you wished. Yeah. So let me share some programs and activities for our level. I think for the P1, for new parents, you may be wondering what is one-to-one learning device program. I think for the rest of the parents may know about it. It's about students having their own learning device. We do control the device. We manage and control the device Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. However, after 4 p.m., we release the management and control to parents. So for more information on this learning device program, parents, I share with you here the QR code and also the sites that have more information with regards to our program. There may be some changes next year. We'll be sharing these changes with parents who for our P3 cohort, 2026 P3 cohort. So parents, for this program, how you can help us and assist us in ensuring that our children are using the device responsibly and safely. Let's model good digital habits for our child. When I talk about devices, it is not just pertaining to iPad usage. It is also about handphones and other devices that the children may have at home. So parents, like I mentioned about model good digital habit, it could be like during meals, maybe we can refrain from using devices like handphone. Sometimes sometimes I'm also guilty of that. Sometimes we are messaging because we have message from our friends or colleagues, so we tend to answer the messages in front of our children even though we are having our meals together. Do have conversation with your child about the safe and responsible use. In Admiralty, P3 and P4, we have gone through the policy device with our children, and we emphasize the responsible use and technology. However, definitely parents, children being children, that they're very curious, sometimes they do tend to go beyond the boundaries that we have set. Let's have conversation with them, because teachers definitely, when in school, when we see that our students are not doing the right thing, we'll remind them about the rules and regulation and about the iPad policy that the children have already promised. Yeah, so let's monitor, set ground rules at home for the internet device usage at home. I do have question about parents. The number of hours, maybe about online homework. If your child mentioned to you that, I need about 2-3, if they are mentioned about them having homework, online homework, maybe you want to check with what are the kind of homework that they may have. Because I'm sure teacher will not be giving online homework like 3-4 hours. So if they're using the device for 3-4 hours, and they mention that they are doing some they're doing homework at home, then it could be an alert for us. So probably, parents, you may want, your child, if they're doing online homework, to do it in front of you or maybe near. If you are not at home, there's always the MDM settings that you can try to you can control in your child's iPad. So just to share with you, this MOH guidelines have been shared on the 22nd of January. Understand that they mentioned about 2 hours of screen time, but you can see here I actually highlighted is that, when it's related to schoolwork, yeah, unless it's related to schoolwork. So 2 hours is more of them playing games, more of them, watching videos and all that. But, if we have online homework, it could be more than that, but definitely it's not more than 3 hours or 4 hours. Yeah. So another program that we have for our P4 level is the ICT structured program. Currently, 2 of our P4 classes have already gone through this. Today, I think it's for endurance. This is for endurance, and 4 college have already gone through this ICT program. It's a video editing ICT skills, and the lessons is from on Monday and also Friday. Next, in the level, we have this conversational Chinese and Malay, CCM, we call it CCM. Our P4 Admirals will be going through this, in term 2, 2 hours per week, and it's always every Mondays. Yeah, so next term, the children, you can opt for the child to join. It's strongly encouraged, yeah, for a child, so that they can have a better rapport, enhanced rapport with their friends or different, friend of different races in the community. Yeah, next, that is coming up. I've sent a PG message to our P4 parents regards to this executive functioning workshop. Um, what are executive functions is actually a cognitive skills that are very critical for learning and development. I think we just started this program last year. So our current P4 batch have gone through last year, which is mental resilience. So this year we are focusing more on conflict management. It's this kind of skills is more for the child to organize themselves, execute and perform tasks. So at P4 level, using the data that I receive, surveys, we find that our children, our MRS, P4 MRS, require these conflict management skills for them to be able, which in terms of the development. So I already have quite a number of responses, but they are still pending response. So parents, do take a look at the PG message that I've sent, and maybe you can give me your response. Yeah. So for parents, I think it's that's the last slide for my P4 session. Thank you, parents. Let me see whether there's any Q&A that I, may need to answer. Let me stop my sharing. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Okay. All right. There's no Q&A. Okay. Dear parents, thank you for joining us for today. It has been a long day for parents, and so yeah, I hope that you have fruitful session. Like I mentioned just now, we welcome your feedback. If you have any feedback, if you need to communicate with any of us, do feel free to approach us. With that, I end this today's session. Thank you, parents.